silver bash baz, 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 bash baz, baz.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the great
Dagger Squad.
We have no connection to that region. We're not those people. We never were those people. Stop living a lie. So why are we playing this game?
Dagger Squad.
So you gonna get this work.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need to get to the root of it.
Come on, bro. Stop it. Religion, of course, is my number one topic. I'm a specialty when it comes to religion, especially the biblical texts.
Dagger Squad.
Check out Sister Monica every Wednesday, the Urban Economic Empowerment Program. I'm on the Dagger Squad YouTube channel. That book is the book that they use to enslave us and put us in the condition that we're in. If we're gonna move forward, we gotta put everything aside and walk without no labels. This is Garfield.
I remember the name.
We coming for all of them. Come watch this for the scholarship.
Dagger Squad.
Garfield, Dagger Squad.
Where the ultimate weapon is your mind.
This is why they don't want to sit with me. This is why they run. Genuine scholarship. I'm going in. I'm going to set the tone.
Dagger Squad.
Is there no one else?
You got your chance? Show and prove. Show and prove. Any more questions?
Is there no one else?
I'm here to free the minds of black people.
I remember the name.
Dagger Squad.
Do you want to know the answers to many questions about the Bible? Topics like, is Yahweh an Edomite God? No Exodus, no religion. The lost tribes have been found. Passover and its origins, and more. The book everyone is talking about. Pure Scholarship. Get the new hottest book on Amazon by Garfield Reed. Misconceptions and Misinformation by the Black Hebrew Israelites, Volume 1. Book available at Amazon.com and at www.brothergarfielduniversity.com. And remember, this is only the beginning.
So once again, we're welcoming Brother Garfield to the channel. As per usual, we're gonna jump straight into it. So, Garfield, I've got some questions from the last interview that have been sent to me. So we've got about 5 or 6 questions, and then after that, we'll jump into the trip. All right. So the first question I have is from Key Amani, and he says, given that King James was not a Hebrew Israelite, why do the black Hebrew Israelites try to convince that he was a black man?
All right. I think it's embarrassment. The seven heads and all these people who use J. Rogers and try to make everybody black and all that stuff. What happened is when they ultimately follow a book, they can't say that they're following a book that's written or translated by a white folks. So I had to say black man, but it's crazy because we have the images of the translators and all of them look European, whitest white guy. So we have the translators. So the translators are the ones who we need to worry about, not King James. King James off linguist. King James was no linguist. You know what I'm saying? So whether he had anything to do with the Bible, it was minimal because all he did was authorize. So him being black was like trying to stop the shame of claiming a book that was authored by somebody who's European. So that's the basis of them saying he's black. I mean, the brother from Land of Israel, Daniela, he goes a little deeper and try to prove it, you know, which is all pure nonsense, of course, once you fact check it. But I mean, the truth of the matter is that the Hebrew Israelites are on their last straw. And what happened is with my book, people have talked about the book. They have said a lot of things derogatory, but no one has addressed the information in the book. So the black Hebrew Israelites are on their last breath right now. They've never had anyone put out a book in academia that's going to be around forever. They can't do anything about this book. So now with the King James, by the way, I addressed this in volume 2. It's supposed to be in volume 1, but that was just a whole other chapter that had to do with blackness and the truth behind the black Dutch, the black Irish, the use of the word black, use of the word dark, usage of the word swarthy. All those terms play a major role into what they are trying to do. All right, so that's why myself is like I'm a walking. Sit with me because I have not all the answers, but I have most of the answers to really let them look at what they're doing from an academic perspective, even from a logical perspective. The whole everybody's black and it's just pure nonsense. But anyway, next question.
Okay, so I know that as part of your trip, you're looking to go to the museum here in London. And one of the things that you'll see is that King James, prior to him taking the throne when he was known as Prince James, he was actually known as a witch hunter. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Okay.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So he actually wrote a book called Demonology in 1597.
Right.
And so as
But
part
I
of
didn't know
your...
he was literally a witch hunter.
Yes. So he was actually part of the crusade that slaughtered thousands of women. I think up to about 4,000 women were slaughtered in Scotland alone as part of the witch hunt. So that's something as part of your trip you will see when you visit the museum here in London.
Wow, that's very interesting. The witch hunter. Oh man, King James is the best one, I think. All right, what's the next question?
Right. So, question from Roseanne. She says, 42 Laws of Ma'at or Hammurabi, which one influenced the 10 Commandments?
I don't think any of them did, to be honest. No, I don't think any of them did. The Hammurabi laws influence the laws that are actually in the book of Exodus, but not the 10 Commandments. Like debt, slavery, and all those type of laws, you could tell even almost word for word they're taking Hammurabi laws. With the 10 Commandments, it's just too vague for me to draw a conclusion and say yes, the 42 laws of Maya did that. I mean, a lot of people like to use the whole copying argument. I would say it's possible, but I just don't see it. I've seen my brother Jabari explain it, but I just don't. I'm not. You see, Egypt is the greatest civilization. So if somebody took something from Egypt, it's more than likely to happen because of how great they were. But we have to be careful because when was the 10 Commandments written? We've got to be careful because every time we say Kemet, we are legitimizing their storyline. We need to get out of that habit. We got to stop comparing the cultures and understand there's something called syncretism. So that's why in my book, I have a section called Stories Have No Borders, because I'm trying to get us away from this copying argument. It's really not an academic argument. It's really a weak argument. But look at it this way, my brother Esoteric. Look at it this way. If we say they took it from Kemet, ask ourselves, if Garfield is saying that the book of Exodus wasn't written before 5th century BC, when did they write the 10 Commandments or copied from Kemet? You see, now if we say they copied from Kemet, we're now encouraging the argument that the Exodus and they were Jews in Egypt, and it opens up a whole can of worms. So we got to be careful every time we try to say they got it from Kemet. Yes, it's possible, there's shared culture, but we got to be careful that we're not supplying them with ammunition to let them stories seem legit. So we got to be careful. So I will say I don't know. I don't know if the 42 laws of mine. I have not been sold on it. I could tell that there's a lot of Sumerian laws that they took almost word for word, over 100. There's laws from Hammurabi they took, but I would be very careful with trying to align myself with the Hebrew culture, because then we're giving them ammunition to say, hey, you see, our book is legit, our story is legit. So we just got to be careful.
Okay. Okay, I have a question here from Chanel. Are the creation stories in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 two different stories?
Yeah, that's the debate that Captain Tazarek is going to have with Dr. Josh Bowen. In his book, he goes into real deep detail. It's the Atheist Handbook of the Old Testament. He goes into detail. I talk about it briefly in the last chapter. Did Moses write the Torah? But it's two different stories. It's two different writing styles. It's two different themes, two different ways. In one story, man is created first. In the next story, man is created on the 6th day. So you could tell it's two different stories, and it's nothing to be technical about or you need to study about. It's just logical. So it is two different stories. And Chanel, thank you for the question. Definitely two different stories.
A comment that you've made a few times that's caught my ear, which is, are we going to hold on to the fairy tales given to us by the slave masters? Can you expand on that?
My book is part of what I've coined the term Freedom of the Mind Project. The Freedom of the Mind Project is basically getting away from all religions that the slave masters have given us, whether they're Arabs, whether they're Muslims, whether they're Moors, whether they're Christians, whether they're Jews, it doesn't matter. Get away from this religion, because what it has done, it has made us actually a slave by following the religion, because it was given to us by the slave master. So what I want to encourage everybody to do is, if you let it go and release yourself from it. It's a process. It's years. Because we have a history of believing. Belief is a natural thing for all people. So I don't knock people for believing, but my thing is, if as people who are African within the diaspora want to really free themselves, they have to first let go of what the slave master gave us. Because that is what makes us passive. We become predictable. If he gave you what you believe in, he knows your limitations. And if he knows your limitations, he knows a Christian, a Hebrew Israelite, a Muslim is not going to take up a gun and just attack them. So because they know they gave you what you believe. So if they know what they gave you, Constantine theory is the best one. You don't have to fight wars with people. All he has to do is give you religion. So when people the other day had a discussion about Ethiopia been conquered. Once Izana conquered them and gave them Christianity, you saw that in the Aksumite Empire, the signs changed. The crescent, the stars, the gods they used to worship got minimized. It was all about Jesus Christ, the Lord and Savior. So that's colonization, and people don't get that. And the colonization is deeper. They don't have to fight wars no more. The Ku Klux Klan don't have to ride in the neighborhoods anymore, because they have given you what they want to give you, which is Christianity. They gave you your religion. That means you will always be a slave to the slave master. Always. No matter how much you want to remix the Christianity and blacken it. Jesus is black and this is black and everybody's black. It's still their religion. It's a controlling element. And once you get rid of that, man, I'm one of the most I'd be one of the most free persons you'll ever meet in your life. I don't hold on. I no longer hold on to the white Jesus. It took me years to get rid of him. Even after I stopped believing, I would close my eyes and I would still see the same white Jesus. Yeah. I mean, I gotta give thanks to the nation of Islam. They blackenized me so much. I had to get rid of the white Jesus. And a shout out to Master number 7 too. I was just there like around 20 minutes ago. Shout out to our brother Arthur Muhammad, who's now the minister there, assistant minister, Master number 7. Infamous Master number 7 that Malcolm X was a part of, Khalid Abdul Muhammad was a part of, Dr. Ben Chavis was a part of. It's a historical Master number 7. But yeah, next question, brother.
Okay, final question, which leads on to, I think, quite relevant question. So, question from Estelle LaCroix. I left Christianity after learning about its origins, but feel a void and slight loss, as I don't know what to replace it with, or even if I need to replace it.
To each, I say I'm an individualist, so I don't think anyone should worship any God that was created by man. I think everyone, if they have a God, they should create it themselves. Because none of the gods in history have done anything to help the Africans within the diaspora. This is my main focus. My main focus is African Americans, the folks in the Caribbean, and Africans within the diaspora, whether they're in the UK, Portugal, France, it doesn't matter where you are. It seems like Africans are at the bottom of the totem pole. And where's of this God to help the poor and the folks who are at the bottom? There hasn't been any help. So all the praying that we've been praying and what we've been doing, it don't seem to work. The descendants of the slave traders are still winning. Where is the karma that people like to talk about? Oh, karma gonna get you. It seems like karma only get black people in the neighborhoods that live in, because it don't affect the folks who descended from the slave masters who played a major role. What I mean, major role. All these DuPonts and all these different families are rich because of insurance money, slave trade money, and passing on from one generation to the next. So let's not fall for the okie doke family. I'm not falling for it, and I suggest you don't. Don't follow any man-made religion. It cannot do anything for you. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Once it does something for you, let me know. The church today is the best networking. If you need to network with people and do multi-level marketing, hook up with a church. It's good for networking. That's what it's good for. They have programs, other programs. I mean, I'm being kind of blunt, but I mean, they have other programs that's beneficial for the poor. But remember this was their purpose of going to Africa, because they went to go help the poor and needy, but really and truly they wanted to convert it to their religion. So you could be a slave to the religion and start thinking the way they think. No. Enough is enough. It's time to move forward. We have enough people with sense, and we need to move collectively. Stop trying to follow what the other man believes. You need to figure out what you want to follow. If you want to get your DNA test and say, okay, I'm mainly from Ghana, let me try to find a tradition in Ghana or Nigeria, Yoruba, Igbo, or you want to be Akan, Asante, you want to be whatever you want to be. You need to work on that on your own. I took 8 DNA tests. Most of them lead to Ghana or Igbo. Hey, if I want to practice a tradition, that's the tradition I would want to practice. I wouldn't want to practice a tradition where somebody force feed me or try to con me just to follow in this plantation religion. I'm not doing it.
Excellent. All right, so that concludes the questions that have been sent in to me. So, the big news, you're coming to London.
Yes, tomorrow evening I will be leaving New York around 6 o'clock, and I will arrive in the UK approximately 6:20 a.m. I will be going to the hotel. I'm going to hang out a little bit. They're going to keep my luggage from me and all that stuff, but I definitely will be in the UK. I'm coming there to not only spread love to my African family, but also to promote the book and to do a couple. I got 2 books signings I'm going to do at 2 bookstores. I'm doing some museum. I'm going to be going to a couple of museums. A couple of flyers are out already, and I'm definitely doing I'm going to be there for like 11 days, so I'm going to give UK a heavy dose of Garfield. I'm going to be there for 2 Sundays. I want to be at Speaker's Corner. Make sure y'all got 100 people around me, by the way. Oh man, Speaker's Corner is nuts. I love it though. I've heard of Speaker's Corner my entire life since I've been here, and they've always wanted somebody from the conscious community. Kalam tried to get us to come over a couple of years ago, and that didn't fall through. So that didn't come through. But I do want to come through and spread some information and knowledge. There's going to be pushbacks from the Muslims, the Rastafarians, the Hebrew Israelites, the Christians, and Bible believers, Abrahamic faith believers. And there's going to be pushback, whether with good taste or bad taste. People are going to be mad. They're going to be angry. But truth is truth. And I'm a truth teller. I'm a truth seeker and I'm a truth teller. And my brother, Asar Imhotep, says, truth has no friends. So if I'm going to tell the truth and lose your friendship, well, you wasn't my friend from the beginning. So I'm going to go there and tell the truth. And y'all know I speak with venom. It's going to upset people, but it is what it is. That's just Garfield. But I'm going to be promoting the book. And while I'm abroad, of course, I encourage everyone to order the book through Amazon. I'm not at home to deliver books or to mail books or whatever. But definitely, bro, I'm coming with heat, and no joke time. No joke time. No joke.
What about the reparations march?
The reparations march, I will be there August 1st. As long as I'm on the plane and I land and everything runs smoothly, I definitely will be at the reparations march. But they're like Bounty Killer said, full suit of black. Full suit of black, and after that, so me I go speaker and a full suit of black. You know what? In the Western world, what full suit of black mean? Now, back in the days, we buried people in white, but in the Western world, them flip it. Them say full suit of black for funeral. So when I come with full suit of black, you know what that means. They're coming in a Bounty Killer voice. They're coming I come deal with the situation because it's too much foolishness going around. Too much. Muslims, the Christians, the Hebrews, the Israelite claimants, all of them are wrong. No one can be descendants of anyone in the biblical text. If you understand what an eponymous ancestor is, watch it. My name is Garfield. I'm from a community called Cassia Park in Jamaica. The eponymous ancestor of my neighborhood would be a guy named Cassia. He's not a real guy, but it's named after him, right? Cassia. So that would be the eponymous ancestor for my neighborhood where I grew up. Does it mean that I am related to a guy named Cassia? No. It's the part of the etiology of the neighborhood. It's a guy named Cassia. So they named it Cassia Park. Ain't nobody named Cassia. Yeah, it is what it is. And plus, to some of these slave masters just name places, and we just take them names and create neighborhoods anyway. I'm from Malines Road area. Who's Malines? But that's what it is. It's the same thing with the Bible figures. Jacob is an eponymous ancestor. You cannot descend from him. You cannot be an Israelite that's written in the biblical text. You can be a Jew. You can convert and be a Jew, just like you can convert and be a Christian. But all of this fighting and fussing over if it's white, if Jacob is white, or the Israelites are black or white. None of these people, you can't have a color if you're not real. They don't understand that people made up these stories and write them retroactively and try to put themselves into history. You can't be those people. This is what they created at that time to present and create a camaraderie and start what they have their own little theory, and in the time of Josiah, they find a Torah, no evidence, all talk. They're eating pork, catfish, all type of things. They ain't following no laws, they ain't following no diet, they ain't following no the priestly code. They're not following none of that. They live in foul, they live in homosexuals' life, they're worshiping multiple gods, they're not following anything the Torah says. Then they say the reason why we failed or we got beat up is because we didn't follow the law. That's their excuse. They like to use that. So let me ask you this, esoteric.
Yeah.
In probably a rhetorical sense. In a rhetorical. So if the people didn't follow the laws, what about the people that did follow the laws? What happened to them? Did the good suffer for the bad? This is the worst religion anyone can follow. That means every time you got punished, even if you're doing good, you're going to get punished because your brothers over the other side not doing good. What type of religion is this? So you living upright, esoteric. You following the laws, you eat right, you're doing what your so-called God said. But you get punished because those guys over there who are related to you is not following the law. Crazy. And you know the funniest thing, to move to a different type of topic regarding Jacob, is if Jacob is the father of the 12 tribes, shouldn't all the tribes lead to one marker, DNA marker?
Mhm.
All of them should lead to one marker, and they don't. So how are you going to claim that the 12 tribes come from Jacob, Esau, what you call it? Issachar, Zebulun, tribe of Gad, Asher, all of them. You look at the Native Americans claiming it. You look at the people in Japan claiming it. You look at the people in North America claiming it. Anybody that's claiming these tribes, you're going to have, your genetic marker has to go back to Jacob. If you don't go back to Jacob, oh, we don't have Jacob, buddy, right? Because he don't exist. But if he did exist, your marker would have to come into one. Who is it? Jacob's. So Jacob's marker is that one that all of them have to be connected with. And if you look at, and I've never even said this public before to anybody, if you really think about it, if it's 12 different tribes, they have to have the same marker. They have to have the same marker, are connected some way to the same marker. The marker that they're trying to use is J. African Americans said, nah, it's E. You know, they make up their own foolishness. But it's crazy. How are you going to get all the tribes having the same markers? I would love, I want to have this conversation right now. It's craziness. I don't know if that makes sense, but
That makes sense. That makes sense.
You got to go back to the same marker. It has to. Matter of fact, when I'm done, I'm going to call a raw boy. Call a raw boy and talk about it. Go have something to laugh about. Yeah, man. All right. What's the next question, brother?
Well, that's it. So we know where to catch you. You're going to be at Speaker's Corner. You're going to be at the Repatriations March. We've got 2 book signings. When you have details, do you have the details to hand us to where the book signings are going to be in the times?
I'm not sure, but I know August 6th, there's a flyer out for August 6th, which is Jamaican Independence Day.
Okay.
There's something going on that they're charging admission $10 in, and I'm supposed to be there to do like an interview.
Okay.
There's going to be a couple radio interviews, maybe a few little newspaper stuff here and there.
Yes.
At the reparations march, of course, I'm gonna catch a couple of people. But people need to understand, I'm coming with fire, man. I'm not coming with some tippy-toe through the toolie type of nonsense. I'm coming in the spirit of the greats before me. You know, I'm coming with the spirit of Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, J.A. Rogers, Eric Williams, Walter Rodney, all these people, Professor James Small, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, my brother Reggie, my brother Son Netta. I'm coming with the energy of all these people. Ditka Kilimanjaro from African Press. I'm coming with the energy with all these people with their backing and support. Coming with the spirit of Jabari. I'm coming with the spirit of Brother Unc West from the Amira Squad. Coming with the energy with the Massey Warrior Clan. I'm coming with that energy to catapult us mentally to get over this, because we have to conquer the mindset that the religion put us in. Not just the religion, but the passive mindset. You see, reparations is a very important. We all need reparations. African Americans, the Caribbean, the Africans in the diaspora, all need reparations, because we are basically kidnapped victims who didn't ask to be kidnapped. We are descendants of these kidnapped victims. So the reparations march, I must say, is extremely important, because this is a shout out to the whole entire world. This is no time for joke, no time for fun and games, no time for personality worship. We all got to stand as one. Whether you want to follow the ADOS movement in who I think is very anti-Pan-African, but we need to stand as one when it comes to reparations. One, if CARICOM get reparations, that means we all get reparations because it's a progress. But if you pay one country, you got to pay the other. Another thing I got to say about reparations, we got to be careful of who we go after. We can't leave out the Portuguese. We can't leave them out. Although majority of the Portuguese was actually Jews, we can't leave out the Portuguese because they gave them permission to conduct the behavior that they did. We can't leave out the Spanish. We can't leave them out. We can't because they was in charge of, they was the one that split one side for Portugal, one side for them, and came to the Caribbean. So we can't leave out the Dutch. We can't leave out the people from Sweden, Scotland. We can't leave them out. We got to go at all of them. They all benefited financially from this transatlantic slave trade and other slave trades. All right. So I just want to add that before we sign up.
Great. Okay. With all that spirit that you're bringing, Garfield, I think we're going to need to bring some security as well.
Hey, hey. Oh man, I'm telling you, man, you got too many crazy people in the world, man.
Yeah.
You know, if I know how to cut debate short. If whatever you believe, you think it's 100% true, I don't need to have a conversation. I'm gonna keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Yeah, gotta keep it moving.
Do you want to know the answers to many questions about the Bible? Topics like, is Yahweh an Edomite God? No Exodus, no religion. The lost tribes have been found. Passover and its origins, and more. The book everyone is talking about. Pure Scholarship. Get the new hottest book on Amazon by Garfield Reed. Misconceptions and Misinformation by the Black Hebrew Israelites, Volume 1. Book available at Amazon.com and at www.brothergarfielduniversity.com. And remember, this is only the beginning.
Silverback Shabazz.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the great...
Dagger Squad.
We have no connection to that region. We're not those people. We never were those people. Stop living a lie. So why are we playing this game?
Dagger Squad.
So you gonna get this work.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need to get to the root of it.
Come on, bro. Stop it. Religion, of course, is my number one topic. I'm a specialty when it comes to religion, especially the biblical texts.
Dagger Squad.
Check out Sister Monica every Wednesday, the Urban Economic Empowerment Program. I'm on the Dagger Squad YouTube channel. That book is the book that they use to enslave us and put us in the condition that we're in. If we're gonna move forward, we gotta put everything aside and walk without no labels. This is Garfield.
I remember the name.
We coming for all of them. Come watch this for the scholarship.
Dagger Squad.
Garfield, Dagger Squad.
Where the ultimate weapon is your mind.
This is why they don't want to sit with me. This is why they run. Genuine scholarship. I'm going in. I'm going to set the tone.
Dagger Squad.
Is there no one else? You got your chance? Show and prove. Show and prove. Any more questions? Is there no one else? I'm here to free the minds of black people.
I'll remember the name. Dagger Squad.
Yeah, family. Yeah. Hey, peace and love to everybody in the building. I'm just dealing with a scholarship today. Just to let everybody know, I am going to London this evening, and it's going to be a wonderful trip. And for those in the UK who have reached out and who have put together an itinerary, a couple of flyers already out, and you know, the love that I'm getting so far, it's amazing. But I want to say it's my first trip ever to the UK. Garfield won my heart. I thought he was trash, but got way better. So, hey, peace and love to you, man, and thank you for your support. All right. I'm gonna play a video. It's about the book of Daniel, one of the most important books in the Bible. And I'm going to be playing a video by Dr. Josh Bowen from the YouTube page called Digital Hammurabi. Hopefully soon I'll interview Dr. Josh. I'm carrying his book with me to the UK. It's actually an extremely well-written book. And it actually, if you read my book and that book, it's like they work hand in hand with a lot of the information that he touches on. And he goes into prophecy pretty well. In my part 2, I do go a little deeper into the prophecy stuff. But I do want to say Dr. Josh Bowen is fascinating, man. This man, he makes it, the explanation so simple that, you know, you don't even need to argue. At this point, if you believe what you believe, I wouldn't even have a conversation anymore, because you don't need to have a conversation about anything. All right, let's leave it as it is. So Daniel is one of the most important books. And a lot of folks have their own opinions. A lot of pastors, a lot of folks who follow the Hebrew Bible have a lot of opinions on Daniel. But I think Dr. Josh does a beautiful job of explaining Daniel. I mean, when I have nothing to do, all I do is watch Digital Hammurabi. There's just so much information on there. I really have no, if I'm just not busy at all, or even if I'm driving long distance, I just listen to Digital Hammurabi and with Dr. Josh Bowen and his wife. They have a lot of great interviews, a lot of great people on there. And I think if you really just watch his videos and watch what he's trying to say, you know, it's just it's amazing, you know. And his book is out, which is The Atheist Guide to the Old Testament. I would suggest you guys get it. Today is Friday. I'm actually supposed to be giving away some books. So later in the afternoon, if I do a show, we're going to be doing a bunch of giveaways and so forth. Sherry Love, your book is in the mail. All right, just to let you know, brother. As a matter of fact, let me accept his Cash App, because I never said I wouldn't accept it until I mailed it out. So I did mail it out. So I'll accept that Cash App right now. Hold on a second. Where's this Cash App at? Yeah, so shout out to the brother. What's his name? Thunder. Shout out to brother Thunder. All right. All right, so let me get into this video real quickly, and if anybody wants to jump on the panel and have a conversation about this, we could get into it. And of course, this is a video from the Digital Hammurabi YouTube channel, Digital Hammurabi, and it's about Daniel, the book of Daniel. I think the book of Daniel is probably the most important book in the Old Testament for a Christian. And listen to him break it down is just unreal. So you guys got to check it out, and it makes a lot of sense. It aligns with a lot of things that I've said before, And I do want to say, always call Dr. Josh. He's like the white version of me. No, actually, he's extremely more intelligent than I am. But we share a lot of things in common as far as ideology is concerned. All right. All right. Let me see, which one should I do? The book of Daniel written. I'm trying to find hold on, let me see if this is this one.
Welcome back.
I know, right?
All right, hold on 1 second. Yeah, give me a second. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat in the meantime. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm coming to London. Yes, I'm gonna be in a place called Kensington. Yeah. You don't have the heart to come to Speaker's Corner, Garfield. Oh man, yada. Ethiopia is not Ethiopia, the death blow. We should say it's not a great shipping experience, my brother. All right, all right. Dress for wet weather. Wow. All right. All right. Yeah, let me get this video here going so that you guys could check it out. I'm trying to get the Darius the Mede video. Let's see, Darius the Mede. Who was Darius the Mede? All right. All right, let's take a look at this first. And
Who is Darius the Mede? In Daniel 5:30, the text reads, "That very night Belshazzar, king of the Babylonians, was slain, and Darius the Mede took over the kingdom at the age of 62. However, we have no historical evidence for this Darius the Mede, and we know the players that were involved in taking over Babylon.
Newsom describes the situation. The figure of Darius the Mede has posed an interpretive puzzle since antiquity because his existence cannot be reconciled with other historical sources. Josephus struggles to make sense of the contradictions, maintaining that he was a son of Astyages, which would make him Cyrus' cousin. Jerome, who follows Josephus, adds that Darius must have heard of the portent disclosed to Belshazzar and Daniel's interpretation of it, and so joined with Cyrus to attack Babylon. Josephus and Jerome's attempts at harmonizing the sources, however, cannot stand up to historical scrutiny.
Conservative scholars have attempted to identify Darius the Mede with known or theorized figures from the time, including the military leader Ug-Guberu, Cyaxares II, and even Cyrus himself. Lester Grabb's analysis, though a bit dated, represents a thorough and effective critique of several apologetic attempts to validate historically Daniel's Darius the Mede, particularly those of William Shear, who wrote several influential articles on the topic. Newsom, in her 2014 commentary on Daniel, writes, "Although some conservative biblical scholars have attempted to argue for the historicity of Daniel 5, that is to misunderstand the role of these details in the story."
Grabb critiques three conservative scholars who seek to defend the historicity of Darius the Mede: Shea, Whitcomb, and Wiseman. Shea, in his earlier articles, argued that Darius the Mede should be identified with Ugberu or Guberu, the governor of the Guti who took Babylon in the Nabonidus Chronicle. Without going into a great deal of detail, there are two names that appear in the Nabonidus Chronicle, Ugberu and Guberu. These two are certainly to be identified as the same person. There is another Guberu, who is attested in business documents beginning in the 4th year of Cyrus, that is not the same person.
Shea's argument is that Ug-Guberu was placed over Babylon for a short period of time, only to die shortly after his appointment. Grab demonstrated, however, that Cambyses, the crown prince and son of Cyrus, was the one who was placed over Babylon during the year after its fall to Cyrus. In his 2001 article, Shea modifies his position and creates an almost fanciful timeline in which the events depicted in Daniel 6, 9, and 11 all took place within an incredibly short period of time and has not been widely accepted, even in conservative circles.
Whitcomb also argued for the identification of Darius the Mede with Ugbaru or Gubaru, but made a far less convincing argument. Grab writes, "The vital point, however, is the time of office of the Gubaru with whom Whitcomb identifies as Darius the Mede. In pointing to the governor of Babylon and Abinari in various texts down to possibly the beginning of Darius' reign, he is evidently unaware that this Gubaru did not take office until Cyrus' 4th year, long after the alleged activities of the Darius the Mede of Daniel."
Finally, Grab examines the suggestions of D.J. Wiseman, who seeks to identify Darius the Mede with Cyrus himself. Essentially, Wiseman is not making a case to demonstrate this connection, but only to show that it is not outside the realm of possibility. Grab writes, "It is difficult to falsify such a theory because the argumentation is consistently about what could have been, not what can now be demonstrated. Ultimately, such a theory has plausibility only for one who is determined to accept the historicity of the biblical data at all costs, without worrying that it also makes the writer of Daniel appear either ignorant or deceptive. Contrary to Wiseman's statement, it is not really a working hypothesis, but only an exercise in apologetics."
This type of approach can also be seen in the recent publication of Stephen Anderson, Darius the Mede, A Reappraisal. Anderson graduated with his PhD from Dallas Theological Seminary, and this is the publication of his dissertation. He argues that Darius the Mede should be identified with Cyaxares II, the unknown final ruler of the Median Empire. His arguments are largely based on the reliability of Xenophon, whose writings are quite problematic from a historical standpoint. But Anderson's methodology is far from objective, as can be seen in the following quote from his book. "Most importantly, Daniel was a prophet who wrote infallibly under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, whereas extra-biblical sources for the life of Cyrus are ordinary human writings. Since God was speaking through Daniel as he wrote, the book of Daniel is not to be viewed as an account of uncertain trustworthiness, whose veracity is to be judged by other data, but rather must be the standard by which all other accounts are measured."
So what is a reasonable conclusion here? Is there anything that explains why Daniel might make such an error? There is some indication that the writer had in mind Darius the Great, son of Hystaspes. Grab notes some of the similarities between Darius I and Darius the Mede. The statement of Daniel 9 that Darius the Mede was the son of Ahasuerus, Xerxes, could be a case of confusion since it was the other way round. Xerxes was the son of Darius, and Darius the Mede appointed 120 satraps over the entire kingdom. It is generally argued that Darius I was the first to give formal organization to the Persian Empire into 20 satrapies, though some sort of organization was already in effect in Assyrian times. Newsom notes that Darius I was a very important figure in the cultural memory of the Jews, since it was during his reign that the temple was rebuilt. She also observes, Darius was remembered in classical sources for his administrative reforms, including the organization of his kingdom into a number of satrapies, a detail that leaves its trace in the claim of Daniel 6:1 that Darius appointed 120 satraps over his whole kingdom.
If we remember the four-kingdom tradition from earlier in this video series, it portrays the Medes and Persians ruling in succession. This may explain, at least in part, the shift or association between the two Dariuses. This change was perhaps facilitated by the prophetic tradition that the Medes would be the ones to attack and destroy Babylon. Furthermore, the schema of the four kingdoms in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, Babylon, Media, Persia, Greece, created the need for a story cycle to represent a Median dominion succeeding that of the Babylonians and preceding that of Cyrus. Because the writer of Daniel almost certainly utilized earlier sources in his composition, for example, Jeremiah 25, 2 Chronicles 36, etc., it would make sense that they would attempt to utilize and make sense of the prophetic tradition.
Do you want to know the answers to many questions about the Bible? Topics like, is Yahweh an Edomite God? No Exodus, no religion. The lost tribes have been found. Passover and its origins, and more. The book everyone is talking about. Pure scholarship. Get the new hottest book on Amazon by Garfield Reed. Misconceptions and Misinformation by the Black Hebrew Israelites, Volume 1. Book available at Amazon.com and at www.brothergarfielduniversity.com. And remember, this is only the beginning.
When was the book of Daniel written? For better or for worse, this question continues to be a source of contention for many. The majority of scholars date chapters 7 through 12 to the middle of the 2nd century, and the origins of the earlier Aramaic tales to a time a few centuries earlier. On the other hand, some traditional conservative interpreters place its composition in the 6th century BCE, although they often acknowledge the difficulties with their position on the earlier dating. We have 8 manuscripts of Daniel preserved from the group of texts known as the Dead Sea Scrolls. Of these 8, the earliest fragments date to the late 2nd or early 1st centuries BCE. Of course, the date of the earliest manuscripts is not direct evidence for dating the original composition. So, how do scholars determine when the book of Daniel was written? What evidence can they cite in order to make the determination as to the time of the book's composition? Frequently cited are 2 important pieces of evidence: the linguistic data and the historical data. What do we mean by linguistic data? Then shalt thou count to 3, no more, no less. 3 shall be the number thou shalt count, and the number of the counting shall be 3. Now, if you're an English speaker, you immediately realize that people don't speak that way nowadays. This was an older form of the language, or a facsimile thereof. In the same way, we can analyze the languages found in the book of Daniel to make determinations as to when, approximately, the grammar, syntax, and vocabulary date to. But what about the historical data? Scholars that approach the book of Daniel, as with any other piece of ancient literature, can evaluate the historical details presented in the text to determine what the writer actually knew. For example, if the book of Daniel had been written in the 6th century BCE, we would expect the writer to get historical details correct from the time and place in which he lived. While it might not be so problematic for the writer to get some contemporary details wrong, it would be very suspicious if he also got many of the details right about a time 3 centuries following his death. This, of course, is what we see in the book of Daniel. This video and the next will focus on the first of these 2 pieces of evidence, the linguistic data. In the 3rd video, we will evaluate some of the historical inaccuracies that appear in Daniel. In the end, we will be able to build a rather convincing case that the book of Daniel was not composed in the 6th century, but much later, during the Maccabean era. At the outset, I will say that the first 2 videos in this series will be a bit more technical than others, as we will be discussing different aspects of the languages in which Daniel was written. My primary source for the structure of this section will be John J. Collins' commentary on the book of Daniel. There, he provides a thorough analysis of this topic, along with an extensive list of bibliographic citations. I will also supplement his material with other secondary literature. Please see the video description below for a full bibliography. As noted above, the book of Daniel consists of a group of folk tales in chapters 1 through 6, which center on Daniel and his 3 friends who have gone into exile into the Babylonian captivity. Their fidelity toward the God of Israel results in God's power and presence in their lives. By trusting in God, these men are not only rescued from dire straits, but are held up as examples of wisdom and righteous living, especially Daniel. Chapters 7 through 12 shift from these tales of faithfulness and deliverance to a series of revelations given to Daniel concerning future events. The spiritual heavenly realm is revealed to Daniel, and God's divine plan, at least in part, is divulged. Events in Daniel's future are laid out in order to encourage him to continue in the faith. Although times of great persecution will come, Daniel is given to know that all of these things are foreordained by God and will ultimately result in the salvation and blessing of the faithful. One of the interesting features of the book of Daniel is the fact that it was composed using several languages. In the canonical version, chapters 1 and 8 through 12 were written in Hebrew, while 2:4 through 7:28 were composed in Aramaic. Some parts of the non-canonical version were even written in Greek. Let's begin by analyzing the evidence from the Aramaic of Daniel in order to place it within a certain period of time based on its vocabulary, grammar, syntax, etc. To reiterate, while I am trained in Semitics and have studied the Aramaic language in a variety of dialects, I am not an Aramaic specialist, and I have yet to read through all of the texts in the various corpora that would be necessary to firmly draw these conclusions on my own. Thus, this presentation will rely on the analysis of experts in the field and will be cited accordingly. As mentioned above, the format of this presentation will follow John Collins in his commentary on Daniel. In the early 18th century, Anthony Collins concluded that, based on the Aramaic texts available to him, the Aramaic of Daniel had to date to much later than the Neo-Babylonian period, when Nebuchadnezzar, Nabonidus, etc. ruled. In the late 18th century, J.D. McCollis argued, based on the similarity of the Aramaic of Ezra, along with a number of Hebraisms, that the Aramaic was actually older. These early determinations were made based on the Aramaic writings that were available at the time. However, in the 19th and 20th centuries, many more Aramaic texts were discovered, allowing for a much larger corpus with which comparisons could be made. For example, Robert Wilson, in his 1912 work on the Aramaic of Daniel, concluded that the Aramaic in the book dated to just after the founding of the Persian Empire. However, both Baumgartner and Rowley refuted Wilson's conclusions, arguing that the Aramaic was, in fact, much later. Collins notes, "The debate was brought to its conclusion, however, by the influential essay of H.H. Shader in 1930. Shader concluded that the Elephantine papyri, the Book of Ezra, and Daniel are all part of a standardized form of the language, and dating them with precision based solely on the linguistic data is not possible." Let's take a look at some of the differences between Daniel and the other Aramaic texts. This section is going to get a little detailed. Beginning with the differences between Daniel and the Aramaic found in the Book of Ezra, we see that Ezra tends to use the form himo, which is the third-person pronoun, they in English, the form that also appears in the Elephantine and Samaria papyri from the 5th and early 4th centuries. However, Daniel uses the form himon, which is standard in the later Dead Sea Scrolls. In a similar vein, Ezra generally uses the older suffixes kom and hom, while Daniel generally uses the later kon and hon. Comparatively speaking, there is not as much material to use with the Book of Ezra. However, when we turn to the Elephantine papyri of the 5th century, the situation changes. In later Aramaic, the use of the consonant zayin is often replaced with the consonant dalet. Thus, generally speaking, later Aramaic tends to use Dalet instead of Zion. In the Elephantine papyri, we mostly see the Zion, with Dalet appearing only 50 times in the corpus. In Daniel, Ezra, and in the Dead Sea Scrolls, we see a consistent use of the Dalet consonant. We now move to the Samaria papyri, which date to the early 4th century. Remember, we are comparing the Aramaic that is used in the book of Daniel to other Aramaic texts whose dates we know. In general, Daniel uses later forms, while the papyri only use those that are older. Daniel tends to use the later forms like the Dalet consonant and hon, himon, and the full masculine plural ending in, while the papyri show the earlier Zion, hom, himo, and the plural ending simply using nun. Concerning this, Collins concludes, it is remarkable that the papyri never use the later forms. The cumulative evidence suggests that the Aramaic of Daniel is later than that of the Samaria papyri. We now turn to the famous Dead Sea Scrolls. When the Qumran texts first began to be published, initial comparisons between the Aramaic of Daniel and what is preserved in an Aramaic Qumran text called the Genesis Apocryphon seem to show that the Aramaic of Qumran was a slightly later stage in the development of the language. Some of the differences noted, for example, were the use of aleph in the Genesis Apocryphon instead of he in Daniel in the causative and reflexive stems, the shorter demonstrative dane used in Genesis Apocryphon rather than the longer dana seen in Daniel, the use of bedil in the Genesis Apocryphon, etc. However, as more Aramaic texts were published from the Dead Sea Scrolls, it became clear that there is not a unified Qumran Aramaic, and that the Genesis Apocryphon did not represent all of the Aramaic in the corpus. Concerning the differences just noted between the Aramaic of Daniel and the Genesis Apocryphon, Collins argues that this, quote, shows the beginning of a transition in the language, but the usage of Daniel is still within the spectrum of what we find at Qumran. Thus, he concludes, it is doubtful whether a firm line can be drawn between the Aramaic of Daniel and that of Qumran. The Qumran library preserved a range of documents that illustrate a transitional phase in the language. Although individual documents such as Genesis Apocryphon may be somewhat later than Daniel, it would be hazardous to attempt a dating relative to 1st Enoch or to the Targum of Job on linguistic grounds, especially in view of the variations between the Qumran fragments of Daniel and the MT. Even the language of the Genesis Apocryphon has many parallels with Daniel. So, the Aramaic of Daniel can be compared with some of the other Aramaic corpora in the following way. First, when Daniel differs from Ezra, a 5th century text, it generally uses later Aramaic forms, though the amount of data for comparison is limited. Compared to the 5th century Aramaic texts in the Elephantine papyri, again, Daniel prefers to use the later forms. Similarly, when compared to the Samaria papyri, Daniel favors later forms, while the papyri never do. Finally, when compared to the later Qumran texts, the Aramaic of Daniel appears somewhat earlier, but not significantly so. As Collins concludes, in summary, the Aramaic of Daniel appears to be later than that of the Samaria papyri, while it does not yet attest many of the developments found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. The balance of probability, then, favors a date in the early Hellenistic period for the Aramaic portions of Daniel, although a precise dating on linguistic grounds is not possible. Similar conclusions have been made by other scholars in the field. Hartman Delilah write, the 6 Midrashic folk tales of chapters 1 through 6, even in their written form, most likely antedate the vicious persecution of the Jews of Antiochus IV Epiphanes. And in oral form, these stories may go back to the Persian period, though hardly to the 7th and 6th centuries BC, the fictional dates given in the narratives. The Aramaic of chapters 2 through 6 is of a later stage than that of the Elephantine papyri, end of the 5th century BC, and the Greek names for the musical instruments in 3.5 probably do not antedate the reign of Alexander the Great. It is simply impossible on the basis of the evidence currently to pinpoint with any accuracy when and by whom these narratives were originally composed, and when they were edited in their present form. But the opinion that these stories were written sometime in the 3rd century BC seems highly probable. Chunleong Seao concurs. The stories themselves were probably already known in substantially their present forms by the late 4th or early 3rd century. Such a dating is corroborated to some extent by the linguistic evidence. In general, the Aramaic of this portion of Daniel appears to be typologically more advanced than the Aramaic of the Samaria papyri from the first half of the 4th century. But the Aramaic is more conservative than the dialects dating from 200 BCE onward. While there is obviously much more that we could say about the linguistic data, I think this will suffice, at least for the Aramaic portions of the book. We see that precisely dating the book of Daniel based on the Aramaic is not possible in the opinions of the scholars in the field, given our current data set and knowledge. However, the evidence strongly suggests that the Aramaic in the book dates to a period later than the Samaria papyri of the 4th century, but earlier than the texts found at Qumran. That does it for part 1 of the dating of Daniel based on linguistic analysis, specifically with the Aramaic portions of the book. In our next video, we will examine the Hebrew language that is used in the book, along with some of the foreign words that made it into the text. Until next time, resist poor scholarship. Always ask, how do you know that?
Yes, family. Yes. I'm not going to stay on too long early. And but I do want to stress to everyone that support the book, man. If you haven't got the book yet, it's on Amazon. Get it on Amazon, and see what you could find out from checking it out on Amazon, and read it. Let me see. Look at the review that the guy who is the Selasian that came on. This guy is from Serbia. Look at the review that he wrote for Garfield, right? Look at this. Brother Garfield makes a compelling, insurmountable arguments which seriously undermine the historicity of certain events in the Bible. If you are intellectually honest and can see beyond some minor formatting, grammatical, and punctuation errors in the first 3 chapters, you'll find pages littered with gems all throughout. Anyone can criticize typographical mistakes. However, not many people will be able to refute the information presented in this book. Although I would have found footnotes in proper MLA format at the bottom of each page and an index in the back matter of the book to be useful, it's not that big of a deal. The importance of this work far exceeds the insignificant typos and unorthodox format. Ironically, it's written with 2 columns in every page, just like the Bible, which I have to admit is pretty clever. When can I pre-order volume 2? Wow, 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 wow. Oh man. All right, let's see what I am today, man, because I've been number 1 on the genealogical release page. So yesterday, I think Blood Royal was number 1. Today, it's McKinnon, or the other way around. Either way, I mean, it is what it is. So Amazon Hot New Releases, our best-selling new and future releases updated hourly. Again, our best-selling new, not overall. Overall, in genealogy, I'm way down the bottom. But for new releases, like the last 30 days, I'm number 1. That's all it's saying, family. Nothing to be jealous or hating about or anything. All right? Shout out to the people that continue to support. Continue to support. I'm telling you, continue to support, and you're gonna see the greatness of what Brother Garfield is trying to do. All right. Let me see. Let me see. All right. Let me see what else is going on with Amazon. I'm gonna just check my sales for yesterday and today. And let me see how I'm doing. Oh man, the last 3 days have been crazy. Oh man. Cha-ching ching. I see the people in the UK is buying up the book. That's what's up. In the US, of course, and in Canada, they're supporting your brother Garfield. All right, that's what's up. Let me see what else. Let me see what else. All right. Let me see if anybody want to come on the panel, and we could hang out for like a good 20 minutes, and we good to go from there. All right, let me see. If anybody want to come on and hang out and kick it with Brother Garfield for a little bit before I cut the show off. But just to announce, I'm going to be in the UK. Come check your brother out. We're going to do what we're going to do. I'm going to check out this Bob the Builder guy that everybody's telling me. My man Sarah Garvey. I need to hit him up too. Yes. All right. There in the morning. Okay. All right. What's up, Xavier?
What up with it, bro? Hey, first I want to say again, congratulations on your book. And I want to ask you a question. Why did you do them like that? And Ethiopia is not Ethiopia, bro.
Oh man.
Man, I'm reading that now, and every line is like a bomb in my head. I'm like, this dude is like hitting them in uppercuts. You hitting them like with Mike Tyson type punches, man. For real, bro. This book is like, I thought No Exodus, No Religion did them bad.
Mm-hmm.
Ethiopia is not Ethiopia, puts it to bed.
Yep. Yep, definitely.
I just gotta admit, and what old boy wrote in the review is exactly what I've been saying to people. If you can look beyond the grammatical errors, the information cannot be refuted.
Hold on a second here. Yeah. So what's your favorite chapter?
My favorite chapter now is Ethiopia is not Ethiopia, but it was No Exodus, No Religion, bro. Those two right there, they can't get around them. The genealogy blows them apart.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
Bro, I'm gonna put it like this. This is the best book on theology that I think I've ever read. The information is immaculate, bro. It's like Yahweh penned it himself for you. It's like Yahweh was writing the book himself. The truth in this book cannot. I don't know. I mean, God, I'm just like, when I was reading about the whole Menelec and all that, I'm like, all they did was just co-op some stories, bro. It's like all they stories have no borders. Like all of it just.
They always all right. What about this part in Ethiopia, not Ethiopia? When the stories have no borders, the part about the Genesis 2, where they talk about the 4 rivers and the Garden of Eden. That kills them, man. That
kills them because the rivers aren't even in the area. And the time frame isn't even right. But let's not even talk about that. The rivers.
Yep.
They're not even there.
Yep. It can't be. The 4 rivers can't become one because it's impossible.
It's impossible for them to connect. I'm like, wow, how did he connect this up? Like this dude is a.
Hey, what happened with the pre-debate with Backline and what's his name? What happened with that?
So Black Line Supreme, he had a problem with his PowerPoint, man. He only had 26 slides to debate, so they just had a little conversation afterwards. But he had like 60 slides, and he only sent 20. He was only able to send me 26, so they canceled it, and they're going to do it next Wednesday, same time. That's all. He just had a problem with his slides. But Gideon really think he has a chance. I don't know why he did that. But yeah, did you see that Sebastian and Jeremiah Judah discussion? Garfield? I did. I was depressed listening to that. Mika, that was terrible. But yeah, order his book. If y'all want to get some ammunition. Yeah, it was terrible, yo. It was terrible. The questions they was asking him, hold up. Did you hear that one? Why monkeys are not evolving? You got grown men straight asking why monkeys.
I don't want to talk about them dudes. Leave them dudes alone, man. Leave them dudes alone.
Yeah, that was that was just a waste of our energy and our brain cells that night. But yeah, if y'all want some information, get his book. Like the guy said, the Serbian Rasta said, look past the little grammatical errors in the first 3 chapters.
And all that was just a manuscript mix-up. So I mean,
and that's what I said. It was probably the way the typing had or the printing had been.
Actually, the person who uploaded the Amazon is the people who did the formatting and the editing, and they basically my master copy don't have the errors that everybody sees. Okay, and I think they probably this is possibly what happened. I'm not going to say that's what happened, but that's possibly what happened. But I mean, it's all right. It's going to be corrected on Amazon anyway, so it's really not a big deal.
It's not,
but, But what can I say?
And I'm gonna tell you like this: if you're intelligent, as the man said, if you're intelligent, you can read and you can put the words that are supposed to be there, or the letters or the punctuation marks that are supposed to be there, so you can actually continue reading the book without too much of a break. You feel me?
Right. Oh man, I think that's the wrong address. Man. Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, good.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know why anyone would complain over that. Because all writers will have those little mistakes, To
Pines Field. Okay, yeah, all right, cool. I'm here trying to. Already sent. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Just want to make sure everybody's orders is sent out. I had to confirm something in my pirate ship account. I feel good. I feel good. I think I got one order I got to mail out today. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I'm going to try my best to make sure
Yeah,
that.
you be safe over there in England too. You know, the Muslims might be waiting for you, bro. You can't come over there. Can't go over there all reckless. You know,
Yeah.
they
No,
already on. They
I
already upset.
I don't even think I'm going to even talk to the Muslims, but I'm definitely going to talk to. I'm not even going to talk to certain people anyway. I'm just going there. It's an experience.
Right.
I think
understand that.
that somebody from the conscious community is coming there. That's more important, and the legacy of Speaker's Corner is more of something of a tradition. So I'll be there. I'll be there 2 days. You know.
Oh man, you know you always got my support, big dog.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gonna stop through St. Louis and do a book signing?
What I'm gonna do is I'll talk to you guys in the back chat about that, because some other that's gonna be after anyway, because I mean I'm thinking about going to Jamaica after UK. Once I return here, I gotta go to Jamaica and do some promotion and on some big networks, TV interview and so forth. So I gotta do all of that. And when I come back, I gotta take my kids to Disney World, and then I have to give me like a week to do that, and then I'm gonna go back to the promoting.
Okay, that's cool. Well, you know, I'm gonna promote it while you on your little vacation doing your thing on my channel. You know, whenever I go live, you know, I'm gonna shout you out. I've been shouting you out in St. Louis too, letting people know if they need some ammunition, grab your book. No cap, bro.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'm not gonna stay long on today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be at Speaker's Corner Sunday after the reparations march. I'll definitely be there if it doesn't rain out. Talk to the Muslim Jamaicans. I mean, you're gonna have people who are just reckless. And I'm sure Hassan will agree with this. I mean, there's an incident this past Sunday, that was just nuts. You're gonna have lunatics in every culture. You have lunatics in Jamaica, you have lunatics in Black America, you have lunatics in England, you got lunatics all over. But it's just spreading the information and how you come off. That's the only way. I could be up, I could be down, I could be halfway. But with the Muslims and the Rastafarians, they're the most aggressive when it comes to hearing information, in my opinion. The Hebrew Israelites can be aggressive, but they kind of calm down now. They're trying to get studious and academic. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I do want to show this book live on the screen, by the way, for my brother Danielle. I want to show this book right here. You should get this book, brother. This is from 1993, The Promise of the Land by Moshe Weinfield.
Okay.
The review, not for you. This is for the Hebrew Israelites. I mean, for you, if you want to further your studies. But not many people in our community would have read this book. This is very deep. It's called The Promise of the Land by Moshe Weinfield. Rastaman said there's no lunatics.
What is it basically hitting on? Rasta City.
If you read the chapter on in Genesis 1, the stories have no borders, about Abraham and Aeneas, about the stories have no borders, about the comparison.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the story.
I remember that.
I hope people understand what I'm trying to do in chapter 1. What I'm trying to do. What do you mean by I don't like Muslims and Islam? Why would you say that? Hassan, why would you say that? What time you saying I don't like Hebrew Israelites? I mean, have anybody ever heard me say I don't like Daniela or Shar or Tazariak? I've never said I don't like them.
No, what I've heard you say you don't like is the misinformation that come out their mouth.
Yeah, misinformation and individuals. If you don't know somebody, how you just gonna get up and don't like them?
Right.
If you don't like what they have done, people in the name of Islam what has happened to our people, but what am I to do? I mean,
Right.
it is what it is, man. So I'll be in the building. Everybody have fun. A lot of people will be watching, but people don't realize the Nation of Islam is Islam, Muslims. Jintin said, you don't like Lexi. Oh, man. I don't know, man. That's just some two personalities clashing, man. I think his artistry is I like his artist work.
Nah, he's an artist, so he should just stay. He should just stick to artist.
Yeah, I just like his artist work. That's it. But I ain't got nothing else to say to the brother, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it is what it is with these crazy people out here. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun, man. I'm gonna be at probably be at a jerk festival tomorrow night. So that should be fun. Pull my belly in some jerk chicken.
Well, enjoy yourself. Don't eat too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
Eat some for me, though. I like jerk chicken. If you don't like jerk chicken, I don't know what's wrong with you.
All right. So anyway, I'm out of here, family.
Yeah, peace, bro.
Done. All right. Peace and love, brother. All right. I got to get out of here. You guys, I'll probably be back on probably about 2 o'clock and do the regular show. And I'm not sure Sniper 1670. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm sure you'll hear, though, because I will do a couple of live streams. All right? Peace and love, family. And we out of here.